ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिनि नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Okay, so teachings of Queen Kunti, verse 8. Let there be calamities. Okay. Vipada santutah shashvat tatra tatra jagadguro भवतो दर्शनम यत् स्याद अपुनर्भव darshanam. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Generally, the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive, artho artharthi jignasu gnani, who have performed some pious activities, worship or begin to worship the Lord. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. See, the important part here is worshipping the Lord. Many people out there are they are out there only for jnana, knowledge. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gnanaman Mam Prapadyate. Prapadyate. Prapadyate means surrender, worship. So if somebody is not worshipping the Lord, that means that their life is just full of misdeeds. They have not done pious activities in their previous life, or they have done pious activities which is just generated just punya, normal punya, meaning Janma, Aishwarya, Sutashri. But they have not done Bhakti Unmukha Sukruti. It's called Bhakti Unmukha Sukruti, meaning punya which is favorable for Bhakti, or Bhakti, or which is Unmukha. Unmukha means Vimukha Unmukha, meaning it is towards. It can facilitate Bhakti. So if somebody has done such pious activities, then they will worship the Lord. Otherwise, if they've done normal pious activities, they might come to demigods. So those who are not ready to worship Krishna, they have not really done real pious activities. Though they might consider themselves as very pious and good people, nice people, etc., etc., they are actually, Bhagavad Gita says, dushkrutina. They are dushkrutis. Namam dushkrutino muda prapadyante naradama maya paratagnana asuram bhavam ashritaha. So they have actually 4 types, but they don't come to Krishna. They don't surrender to Krishna. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. We were discussing the other day, right? Saying why we don't surrender. Because we are actually not fully pious. Because for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Who take shelter of their own abilities, asuram bhavam ashritaha. Those who are not, who are impious or who are asuric, who don't really think of a supreme lord, they take shelter of their own strength. But a pious person takes shelter of Krishna. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. So why Prabhupada is saying this? When there is difficulty, devotees naturally think about lotus feet of the Lord. They take shelter because they know that there is no other shelter. Like I was saying, only those who have experienced severe difficulties, miseries in life can understand this statement. Otherwise, other people can't understand this statement. Now, if you have experienced such difficulties in life which have gone beyond you, then you can understand this. So such devotees, they constantly remember the lotus feet of the Lord, and constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means mukti, preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. See, we should understand those so-called calamities that are happening, that have come in our life. That anyway, it looks like it is because of or some past misdeeds, etc. So, in which whether we like it or not, we will possibly cannot escape from it. But even in the midst of all those calamities, if we can think about Krishna, if we can remember Krishna, then in spite of those calamities, we will get liberated. We will become free from this miserable circle of birth and death. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nescience, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hooves of a calf. How difficult is it to jump over some footprint of a calf? So Prabhupada is saying one who has taken shelter of lotus feet of the Lord, for them liberation is not a big deal at all. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord. They are meant to reside. No, meant to reside meaning that they deserve to reside or they are qualified to reside. And they have nothing to do with the place where there is danger in every step. Padam padam yat vipadam. Material world is a place of danger in every step. So one who has taken shelter, he has nothing to do. He has nothing to do. Nothing to do means no relation, no connection. I mean, he doesn't have to live in this material world. He is meant to reside. He's meant to reside in the abode of the Lord. So the important part is to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. The material world is certified by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is to be full of calamities. See, actually, even as devotees, we also tend to do this. And thereby we become less intelligent. What do less intelligent people do? They prepare plans to adjust to those calamities. They try to make plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is to be full of calamities. So when there are difficulties, of course, I mean, we can try to get rid of those difficulties depending on Krishna. But if they are not happening, then we should know that Tena vina trinamapi na chalati. Without Krishna's sanction, not even a blade of grass moves. So we should not get too perturbed. We should just go on with our bhakti, remembering Krishna, chanting Krishna's names. And remember that this world is full of miseries, full of calamities. So those persons who don't understand this, who are constantly struggling to adjust to those calamities, meaning trying to find solutions to those calamities. About them, Prabhupada is saying they have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the sane person, sane, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which is sure to happen in all circumstances. So, such powerful statements. So, if we are disturbed by worldly calamities, then we are insane. This is what Prabhupada is saying. The duty of the sane person is to be undisturbed. Worldly calamities which are sure to happen. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes. One should make progress in spiritual realization because that is the mission of human life. Tattenu kampasu samikshamano. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable. Of course, unavoidable. Krishna, if he desires, then it can be, he will take it off. But otherwise, it is unavoidable because of the laws of karma. So, suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization. One should make progress in spiritual realization. So, what does this mean? One should make progress in understanding I am not the body, I am spirit soul. One should make progress, increase his attachment to Krishna. One should increase his services to Krishna. One should go deeper into spiritual life and move away from material consciousness, because that is the mission of human life. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional services is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. So they're all like dreams. Why are they like dreams? Because when we wake up, the fact that I am not this body, then these calamities don't exist because they are happening to the body. But it's a very difficult, very, very, very difficult thing to realize. It takes years of practice and sadhana. Because today we are so attached to the body that we think that the sufferings of the body is actually a suffering of the soul. We think of it like that. And so we are in distress. We are unhappy. But they're actually not happening to the soul. They're just happening to the body and mind, which are just material. I mean, this platform might be, is a very exalted one. Very, very exalted. Most of us will find it difficult to digest these statements. But this is the truth. We might not be able to digest it, doesn't mean that the statements are false. Very powerful. In this very interesting verse, it is described that vipada, calamities or dangers, are very good if such dangers and calamities remind us of Krishna. See, and for devotees, who else will we remember? Is there anybody else whom we can remember? Is there anybody else who can help us out? No, there is nobody else. So which means all calamities and dangers are very good because it helps, they help us remind us of Krishna. Tatenukampam susamikshmano Punjana evatmakritam vipakam. How a devotee receives dangers? There must be dangers because this material world is full of dangers. But foolish people who do not know this try to avoid the dangers. Thus they struggle for existence. Everyone is trying to become happy and avoid danger. This is our material business. Everyone is trying for atyantikam sukham, ultimate happiness. A working man thinks, let me work very hard now and put money in the bank so that when I get old, I shall enjoy life without working. This is the inner intention of everyone. No one wants to work. As soon as one gets some money, he wants to retire from work and become happy. But that is not possible. One cannot be happy in that way. Because it doesn't mean that we should not retire at all. But just by this work or money, one cannot be happy. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Here Kunti Devi speaks of Apunar Bhavadarshanam. The prefix a means not. Unarbhava means repetition of birth and death. The real danger is the repetition of birth and death. That must be stopped. The material world is full of dangers. Padam padam yat vipadam. For example, if one is on the ocean, one may have a very strong ship, but that ship can never be safe. Because one is at sea, at any time there may be dangers. The Titanic was safe, but on its first voyage it sank, and many important men lost their lives. So danger there must be because we are in a dangerous position. This material world itself is dangerous. We should realize that it is dangerous because we really don't know what is going to happen next moment. Therefore, our business now should be to cross over this sea of danger as soon as possible. As long as we are at sea, we are in a dangerous position, however strong our ship may be. So some people might be thinking, oh, my body is strong, my mind is strong. Prabhupada is saying still it's a dangerous situation. That's a fact. But we should not be disturbed by the sea waves. Instead, we should just try to cross over the sea and get to the other side. That should be our business. See, not disturbed by sea waves means one is getting disturbed by the sea waves and not doing what we have to do, which is to cross the ocean. So there are two types of devotees. Some are so exalted that they don't get disturbed at all by the sea waves and they simply go on with their practice of Krishna consciousness and they cross over the sea. Now there are others who might be slightly more weak-minded, Hridaya Daurpalyam, who are disturbed by the sea waves, but still they continue with their sadhana of trying to cross over the sea. Both of them are fine, and this person who is disturbed by the sea waves, if he continues, eventually he'll not stop getting disturbed by the sea waves. But the important thing is we should always try to cross over the sea. That should be our business. That should be our business. Whether we are disturbed or not disturbed is not the important part. The whole point is that we should try to cross over the sea. That should be our business. As long as we are in this material world, there must be calamities because this is the place of calamity. But even with calamities, our business should be to develop our Krishna consciousness so that after giving up this body, we may go back home, back to Krishna. See, actually, the chanting of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so powerful that sometimes, actually, Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks about this in the 6th canto, Ajamila, Pastimes of Ajamila. Sometimes we'll study that. So, in that, Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that sometimes Krishna doesn't give us the results of our chanting immediately. He will hold it back. And he will give it only at the right time. So we might be practicing Krishna consciousness, but we might be saying that, oh, I'm not making any progress. But that's not true. Every sincere attempt to practice Krishna consciousness is accumulating results. And the results will manifest at the right time when Krishna thinks it is right, he will manifest the result in front of us. So which means that whatever sadhana we are doing, absolutely it is taking us towards going back home, back to Krishna. Just that we might not be able to understand or recognize it at this point of time. But that doesn't mean that we stop doing our sadhana. We keep thinking, oh, so many years I've been chanting, I've been doing this, but doesn't look like I made any serious progress. Might be true, but it's not that we've not made any progress. We've definitely made progress. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna said to Krishna, whatever you're saying is all right. I'm not this body, I'm a soul, and this is also true of everyone else. So when the body is annihilated, the soul will continue to exist. But when I see that my son is dying or my grandfather is dying and that I am killing, how can I be solace simply by knowing that they're not dying, but only their bodies are changing? I'm accustomed to thinking of them with affection in terms of the body, and so there must be grief and suffering. Krishna did not deny what Arjuna said. Yes, he replied, that's a fact. Because you are in the bodily concept of life, there must be suffering. So you must tolerate it. That's all. There is no other remedy. Oh my God, so powerful. So powerful. So Arjuna's mind, which is our mind, is disclosed here. I'm accustomed to thinking of them with affection in terms of body, so there must be grief and suffering. Krishna says, yes. Why? That is because you are in the bodily concept of life. So when there is bodily concept of life, there must be suffering. So what must you do with that suffering? Tolerate it. There is no other remedy. Look at this. There is no other remedy. We can't run away. We can't escape. Many people have this, like I was talking to somebody saying, some Mataji had a bad marriage, bad, not a good husband, whatever, some reasons. And then she was being advised to take to divorce, right? So this is the advice. This is the advice Krishna is saying. Why are you experiencing the pain of that marriage, whatever grief and suffering, is because you are in the bodily concept of life. When you're in the bodily concept of life, there will be suffering. Just tolerate it. There is no other remedy. So trying to run away from the situation is not our remedy. Is not a remedy. Tolerating is the remedy. Right? Because otherwise Krishna would have told Arjuna, saying, run away. Don't bother about tolerance and all that. Just try to, Krishna would have said, just try, keep trying to escape. Keep trying to get out of all your miseries one after the other. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. He's not saying that. He's just saying, just tolerate it. If not, this something else will come. Because there is that suffering is there due in your life. So you will suffer. And that suffering is only because you are in the bodily concept of life. So you can't escape it. If you escape one situation, there's going to be another. That's all. So simply tolerate it. There is no other remedy. There is no other remedy except to tolerate, but to tolerate. And this one instruction itself is so difficult for us to follow. Because we want to think independent of Krishna, independent of Krishna's instructions. And our natural material way of life, which is to keep trying to find solutions. And that solution could be anything. It could be anything. It could be as worse as, just quitting from a marriage, or it could be, some people go extreme and they want to quit their body only. But there's no other remedy because that suffering is going to come in some other form. See, and when time comes for suffering to go, suffering will automatically go. So we have to keep reading these purports again and again, again and again, again and again, so that these things become ingrained in our brains. Otherwise, naturally, we are just trying hard to find solutions, trying hard to find solutions, and when we don't find solutions, we get frustrated. Because this one statement we should remember: why am I suffering? Because I am in the bodily concept of life. And when I am in the bodily concept of life, there will be suffering, and what I should do, I should simply tolerate it. There is no other remedy. As mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 2.14, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkha daha agama paino nityastam stitikshasu bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of heat and cold, happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. See, this is also very important. They arise from sense perception, meaning I am the Atma, right? Actually, I have no sense perception of this body because I am Atma. I have actually, and what is pain? What is pain? For example, let's think about what is pain. It could be mental, physical. Pain is just a sensation created by our nervous system, right? It's just a sensation created by nervous system. And they are arising because of this perception that we can perceive the pain. Hence, we are experiencing that pain. So Krishna is saying here that they arise from sense perception, meaning it is because of the body that you are experiencing that pain. Whatever your pain you're experiencing, it is because of the makeup of the body. The body is so designed such that the pain is delivered to you as your karma phala. Same thing with the mind. And it has nothing to do with you, Atma. So one must tolerate them without being disturbed. Actually, if we just meditate on this one particular verse, we'll be able to get over our material suffering, be it because of the body or because of the mind. But it's difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult simply because we are in the bodily concept of life. And Prabhupada just hammered this again and again in his classes, again and again. And devotees were asking Prabhupada, saying that, Prabhupada, why you are saying the same thing? It's because it doesn't enter your tiny brain. So please read this. This purport is so powerful, so powerful. So please read this again. Meditate on this. Actually, it's not difficult for us to become liberated, free from bodily suffering. We have to just remember that I am in this bodily concept of life. I must tolerate it. The more we tolerate the pain, the more we will realize that I am not this body. I had this recent experience where I had so much of suffering and I couldn't actually even sit. So then I remembered this verse and I said, what is this? Why is Krishna saying, he's making a statement like it sounds like so easy? And just Tam Sitikshasva. Just remember that you're not the body. So then for a moment, I just thought, okay, I'm not this body. And then suddenly I realized saying that, now I'm sitting and chanting. After again, 15, 1 minute, 5 minutes, again mind becomes weak. And it says, no, you are suffering. Why are you sitting and chanting? Just take rest. Then again, I thought, no. See, mind is distracting. I'm not the body. I'm spirit soul. I have to continue my chanting. And again, I said, oh, okay, yes, I'm not this body. I'm spirit soul. Then again, I was able to chant. So I realized saying that, it's not difficult, just that it requires consistent effort. And if we consistently make this effort to remember saying, yes, I'm not the body. Really, it is the truth. I'm not the body, and the Atma cannot suffer. Atma has no pain. Atma has no bodily, mental pain. So all I have to do is just switch off from this bodily connection. Just switch off. So I got a glimpse of what it means to accept the fact that I'm not this body. Though temporarily, it was for few seconds, few minutes here and there that I could understand that, yeah, I can just chant so nicely without being affected. There was pain, but I could chant. Right. So it's if Krishna has given this for practical application. We have to practice this. Our problem is that we don't want practice. We want to just get the result. We want to get the result without actually going through the grind. That's not going to be easy. These are the tests that any devotee worth his salt, he will go through all these difficulties if he wants to achieve perfection. He'll go through all these difficulties. But if we want just a very easy, comfortable life, then it's okay. We can get a easy, comfortable life, but no guarantee that we're going to go back to Krishna, that we'll achieve perfection in this life. So it totally depends on what we want, what is the goal of our life. If goal of our life is Krishna in this life, then we should be ready to put these things in practice. Of course, some might be very, very fortunate, but even those very, very fortunate ones also still will have to go through this test. If they're really fortunate, they will just very easily pass the test. That's all. Right? But the test is going to come for everybody. No running away. Like I said, it's okay. The test will not come for whom? Those who don't want to achieve perfection in this life, they are happy to come back another life and practice. So for them, it's okay. It will come in the next life. Test will come, but test has to come. It's a very simple thing. Before one breaks out of this material world, Durga Devi's stronghold, one has to go through the suffering and pass the test. One has to pass the test. And so we have to simply remember this. I am not the body. Whatever mental suffering, physical suffering, whatever it is, I am not the body. This is just because I'm in this bodily concept, thinking that I am the body, that I am suffering. I should simply tolerate it and continue a real business, like Prabhupada is saying, is to practice Krishna consciousness. Okay, I'm stopping here. There are any questions, comments? Feel free. Yeah, Akshay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji,
Yeah.
how do we, means even before the test comes, how do we start preparing mentally that so that we pass the test with our chanting and with our reading? Anything else we need to do?
Yeah. So sadhana, sadhana, we have to do our sadhana strictly, properly, right? Like sadhana strictly means getting up at Brahma Muhurta, doing chanting, following the daily program that Prabhupada gave, right? Which is reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, associating with devotees. And we should do our daily sadhana properly, right? And these tests actually come in doses. In first, we'll have very small dose. For example, say you have a simple headache today. For example, simple headache, nothing. It's just random headache that came. Right now, it's a simple test. It's the first simple test. Okay, you got your headache. Are you still going to hold your chanting beads and chant, or you will say, no, I will do later? Right? Or for some reason, somebody said something, you got disturbed mentally. Will you say, no, no, I don't want to chant. No, my mind is not okay. I will chant later. Simple test. So once we start passing these simple tests, then we will slowly start making progress towards maybe difficult tests, right? And we should not think, oh, we are some great exalted souls that Krishna is giving some special situations. No, it's just our karma phala only. But Krishna is, through the karma phala, Krishna is actually helping us to overcome this bodily concept of life, right? Which somebody else who is not a devotee will try to find solutions and drown his consciousness in trying to find a solution, and that way, deal with problem. A devotee should deal with problem just trying to become more and more absorbed in Krishna consciousness, realizing that I'm not this body, I'm spirit, soul. And that's how we will keep making small, go through small tests, pass, fail. If we fail, we'll get an opportunity again. We'll again try. So this stage is called Nishta. Nishta means fixed devotional service, meaning whatever happens, let the world, let the sky fall, I'm just going to continue my sadhana. So yeah, so small situations will be there which will keep testing us. Finally, the whole point is that this tolerance has to be learned. We have to come to that platform. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts? Okay. We'll close here. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha anantapoti vaishnav ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.